First contact at the galaxy's end, Commander. Zix Thala pressed her six-fingered hands against the observation deck's reinforced viewing port, watching the stars thin out as her exploration vessel pushed deeper into the region. Every civilized species called the Void Boundary. The massive hegemony survey ship Eternal Seeker had been traveling for 3 months to reach this point, following ancient star charts that marked everything beyond this coordinate as navigation hazardous, stellar anomalies present. Her chief navigator, a crystalline Vorthik named Keentel, approached with obvious reluctance. His normally brilliant blue form flickered with nervous amber undertones. Commander, we're now entering the coordinates marked as the galactic terminus. All our surveys indicate severe radiation storms, gravitational distortions, and complete absence of habitable systems beyond this point. Zix Thala nodded, her reptilian features calm despite the historic nature of their mission. As one of the hegemony's most experienced deep space commanders, she had volunteered to lead the first official expedition into the Void Boundary. For over 2,000 years, every galactic civilization had accepted that space simply ended here. Ships that ventured beyond either returned with tales of impossible conditions or never returned at all. Sensor readings, Lieutenant Mordok? She called to her tactical officer, a heavily armored Krugan, whose species prided themselves on their military precision. Commander, I'm detecting something unusual, Mordok replied, his gruff voice carrying a note of confusion. Energy signatures ahead. Multiple contacts. This doesn't match our survey data at all. The main display activated, showing a three-dimensional map of local space. Where their charts indicated empty void, dozens of energy contacts appeared scattered across multiple star systems. As they watched, more contacts resolved on their sensors, revealing an infrastructure network that shouldn't exist. By the ancient codes, whispered their communications specialist, a floating ethereal named Lumsara, whose translucent form pulsed with surprise. Commander, I'm receiving organized communication signals, hundreds of them. Commercial traffic, navigation beacons, civilian broadcasts. This region isn't dead at all. Zix Thala stared at the display in disbelief. The energy signatures showed industrial activity on a scale that rivaled the hegemony's core worlds. Orbital platforms, shipping routes, and what appeared to be artificial habitats filled the scanner like a thriving metropolitan system. Commander, Keentel said, his voice barely above a whisper, our long-range sensors are detecting inhabited systems extending far beyond our scanning range. If these readings are accurate, this civilization spans thousands of light years into what we thought was empty space. That was when the transmission arrived. Unknown vessel, this is Houston Deep. Space Control. Please state your origin, destination, and cargo manifest. You're approaching a major shipping lane, so please adjust course to standard traffic patterns and follow Navigation Protocol 7 Alpha. The voice speaking perfect galactic standard was unmistakably human, delivered with a casual efficiency. That had become familiar since humans joined galactic civilization 50 years ago. But according to every official record, human space ended 6 sectors back, well within established galactic boundaries. Zix Thala activated the communication. Array with trembling hands. Houston Deep Space Control. This is Commander Zix Thala of the Hegemony Survey Vessel Eternal Seeker. We are on an official exploration mission. We were under the impression this region was uninhabited space beyond the galactic boundary. A pause. Then what sounded distinctly like human laughter. Ma'am, you're looking at the Houston Nebula Industrial Complex. We've got 47 inhabited worlds, over 200 orbital habitats, and some of the busiest shipping routes outside the Soul Trade Network. Where exactly did you think you were? Zix Thala looked at her instruments, then at her bewildered. Crew. According to every map produced by the Galactic Hegemony, they were flying through the cosmic equivalent of a wasteland. Control. Our official charts designate this region as the void boundary. Uninhabitable space at the edge of the known galaxy. Another pause, longer this time. When the human voice returned, it carried a different tone entirely. Commander, I'm transferring you to Admiral Marcus Rivera. He's going to want to talk to you personally. Minutes later, a new voice came through their speakers, older and carrying clear authority. Eternal Seeker, this is Admiral Rivera of the Terran Frontier Command. I understand you're operating under some outdated information. What you call the void boundary, we call home. Everything beyond the official galactic maps that your people consider impossible to inhabit, that's where we've been living and working for the past 30 years. But Admiral, Zixtala protested, the radiation levels, the gravitational anomalies, the complete absence of resources suitable for known life forms. Oh, we worked around all that, Admiral Rivera replied with audible amusement. The radiation storms make excellent natural barriers and energy sources, once you know how to harness them. The gravitational anomalies create some of the most efficient transportation networks in known space. And as for suitable resources, well, we make what we need. The tactical display updated as their systems receive new data, showing structures. That challenged every assumption about what was possible in deep space. Artificial worlds larger than most planets, space habitats that could house billions, and engineering projects that treated entire star systems as construction sites. How long has this been here? Zixtala asked, her voice barely steady. We started expanding beyond official galactic boundaries about 35 years ago, Admiral Rivera explained. Turned out that all those impossible regions were just engineering problems waiting for creative solutions. The radiation barriers that keep most species away make excellent natural defenses, so we set up operations and kept building. But why doesn't the galactic hegemony know about this? Oh, they know, came the reply, and Admiral Rivera's voice carried a note that made Zixtala's trading instincts suddenly alert. Your leadership has known about our expansion for decades. They just never updated the public charts. The implications hit Zixtala like a physical blow. The hegemony's exploration division, the trading guilds, the colonial development corporations, all of them operating under deliberately falsified information about the galaxy's true extent and resources. Admiral, we would be honored to establish formal diplomatic contact, she said carefully. Our mission parameters include provisions for first contact protocols. Commander, with respect, this isn't first contact. Your government has been in communication with ours for years. What this is the first time they've sent someone out here who wasn't already in on the secret. Mordok's tactical display suddenly showed new contacts approaching their position. Sleek vessels with configurations unlike anything in hegemony. Databases moving with precision and purpose that spoke of advanced technology and experienced crews. Eternal Seeker, this is Captain Sarah Chun, commanding the escort squadron. Admiral Rivera has asked me to give you and your crew a proper tour of our facilities. I think you'll find human ingenuity has been busy out here in the dark. As the human ships took formation around their vessel, Zixtala realized that everything she thought she knew about galactic geography, politics, and the limits of civilization was about to change forever. Keen tell, update our navigation logs. She ordered. We're no longer exploring the edge of the galaxy. We're visiting the neighbors nobody told us we had. The crystalline navigator's form shifted from amber anxiety to brilliant white curiosity. Commander, if human space extends this far beyond known boundaries, how much of the galaxy are we actually unaware of? Zixtala watched the human escort. Ships guide them toward a structure that defied easy classification, part space station, part artificial world, and part something entirely new. That, my friend, is exactly what we're about to find out. As the Eternal Seeker approached what humans casually called a standard frontier outpost, Zixthyla prepared to document discoveries that would reshape galactic civilization's understanding of itself and its place in the universe. The void boundary wasn't the end of anything. It was just where the real galaxy began. Asterisk. Beyond the known galaxy, Captain Sarah Chun's ship, the TSS Pathfinder, led the hegemony vessel through what she casually referred to as local traffic. To Commander Zixthyla, the scale of activity was overwhelming. Massive cargo haulers moved. Between orbital facilities, construction ships worked on projects that spanned entire asteroid belts, and civilian transports followed routes that extended beyond her sensor's maximum range. Commander, Captain Chun's voice came through their communications array. We're approaching Frontier Station 1. It's one of our smaller outposts, but it should give you an idea of how we've adapted to life beyond the boundary. What appeared on their screens defied every assumption about spaced civilization. The station wasn't built around a planet or natural body. Instead, it floated freely in space, a massive construct that seemed to grow organically from a central hub. Multiple sections rotated at different speeds, creating artificial gravity zones. Solar collectors the size of small moons fed power to the complex, while massive hydroponic bays provided green spaces visible through transparent sections. How many people live here? Zixthyla asked. About 12 million permanent residents, Captain Chun replied casually, plus another 3 million transient population at any given time. It's mainly a logistics and manufacturing hub. We process raw materials from the Andorian asteroid clusters and ship finished goods throughout this sector. Loon Sara, their communications specialist, flickered with amazement. Captain, I'm detecting communication arrays more sophisticated than anything in hegemony space. How do you maintain contact across such vast distances? Quantum entanglement networks, came the reply. We developed the technology about 20 years ago. Real-time communication across any distance, as long as you have paired quantum transceivers, makes coordinating operations across multiple sectors much easier. Lieutenant Mordak studied his tactical displays with professional interest. These defensive systems, they're unlike anything in our databases. How do you protect facilities this large in deep space? Captain Chun's response carried a note of pride. The radiation storms that keep most species away are our first line of defense. We've learned to predict and manipulate them. Natural gravitational anomalies create choke points that we can monitor and control. And if something hostile does make it through, well, we've had plenty of time to get creative with deterrence. As their ship docked with Frontier Station 1, Zixthyla found herself face to face with human civilization's true scope. The station's interior was a marvel of engineering and social organization. Multiple biomes supported different environmental needs, while transport systems moved people and goods through corridors that stretched for kilometers. Admiral Rivera met them at the docking bay, a stocky human with graying hair and eyes that held decades of frontier experience. Commander Zixthyla, welcome to the real galaxy. I imagine this is quite different from what your charts suggested you'd find. Admiral, I must ask directly, how extensive is human presence in this region? Rivera smiled. Let me show you something. He led them to an observation deck and activated a holographic display that showed local galactic geography. What appeared was staggering. Human settlements, industrial complexes, and transportation networks extended in a vast arc beyond the official galactic boundary, encompassing regions that would double the known galaxy's inhabited volume. We currently maintain permanent populations in over 800 star systems, Rivera explained. Most of them are in regions your people classified as uninhabitable. We've terraformed worlds that were too hot, too cold, too radioactive, or too unstable for traditional colonization. We've built habitats in nebulae that provide both resources and natural concealment. We've even established mining operations around black holes, using their gravitational effects for industrial processes. Keentel's crystalline form pulsed with disbelief. But the energy requirements alone should be impossible. How do you power operations on this scale? We don't fight the environment, Rivera said. We work with it. Radiation storms become power sources. Gravitational anomalies become transportation networks. Unstable stars become industrial furnaces. What your species see as obstacles, we see as resources waiting to be utilized. Zixtala studied the holographic display, trying to comprehend the implications. Admiral, if human space is this extensive, why maintain the fiction that the galaxy ends at the old boundaries? Rivera's expression grew more serious. Politics, Commander. When we first started expanding beyond official galactic boundaries, we approached the Hegemony Council for formal recognition of our new territories. We were told that expansion beyond established boundaries was destabilizing to galactic order, and that our claims wouldn't be recognized. So you continued expanding anyway? We continued living, Rivera corrected. Human nature doesn't stop at arbitrary lines on a map. When we found habitable space, we inhabited it. When we found resources, we developed them. When we found challenges, we solved them. The Hegemony Council can choose not to recognize our existence, but that doesn't make us disappear. Morduk's military background made him focus on strategic implications. Admiral, this represents a massive shift in galactic power balance. Why hasn't this information been made public? Because it benefits certain interests to maintain the status quo, Rivera replied. The established trading guilds profit from artificial scarcity. The colonial development corporations charge premium prices for rights to frontier worlds that are actually well within safe, established space. The exploration services sell dangerous expeditions to regions we've been living in peacefully for decades. Captain Chun joined the conversation. Commander, we've been trying to establish formal diplomatic relations for years. Your government knows exactly where we are and what we've built. They just prefer to keep their citizens in the dark about it. Zixtala felt her worldview reshaping itself around these revelations. What do you want from the hegemony? Recognition, Rivera said simply. Trade agreements, diplomatic relations. We're not hiding from galactic civilization. We're expanding it. But we need official acknowledgement that human space extends beyond the artificial boundaries your maps show. And if that recognition doesn't come, Rivera shrugged, we'll keep doing what we've been doing. Building, growing, solving problems, and pushing further into space that everyone else thinks is impossible to inhabit. The galaxy is a big place, Commander. Big enough for everyone, if people stop pretending otherwise. As their tour continued, over the following days, Zixtala documented human achievements that would revolutionize galactic understanding of what was possible. Cities built inside asteroid clusters, agricultural systems that turned barren worlds into garden planets, and transportation networks that made travel through previously dangerous regions safer that established space lanes. But more than now. Technology, she was impressed by the human approach to challenges. Where other species saw insurmountable obstacles, humans saw engineering problems. Where others found reasons why something couldn't be done, humans found ways to do it anyway. Their final day at Frontier Station 1, Admiral Rivera made an offer that would change everything. Commander, we'd like to invite the hegemony to establish a formal embassy here. It's time for honest diplomatic relations between our civilizations. Zixtala looked out at the vast human installations stretching across space that officially didn't exist, filled with people who officially weren't there, building a future that officially wasn't possible. Admiral, I'll carry your message back to the Hegemony Council, but I suspect the real change will come when other species learn what I've learned here. You can't hide an achievement this significant forever. We're not hiding anything, Rivera replied. We're just living our lives and building our future. The galaxy is welcome to join us whenever they're ready to acknowledge reality. As the Eternal Seeker prepared to depart, Zix Thala realized she was carrying more than diplomatic messages back to hegemony space. She was carrying proof that the galaxy was far larger, far more diverse, and far more full of possibilities than anyone had imagined. The void boundary wasn't the end of civilization. It was just where it got interesting.